All right, good morning, good morning, my neighbors. How are you doing? I hope you had a great day. Let me go ahead. Yesterday, I kind of forgot about my theme music. I have this playing in the background as well, right? But yeah, so let's go ahead and get started. If you do not have a trading community down below, I have the link down to cheat code. Come on, join us. We trade, we have some fun, make some money. Also, down below is my Instagram and also Twitter, right? And if you are watching this on YouTube, go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button so that way you can go ahead and know when I'm on. And that bell button kind of like gives you those little notifications letting you know that I'm on. So that said, don't forget the rocket. That one right there, that little tiny little rocket that goes up over on TradingView. That way the TradingView algorithm lets you know that I am giving good information and let everybody else in the TradingView community say, hey, you know what? Come check out JD the Great. He actually brings some good information. And yesterday was pretty epic. Let's go ahead and get started. So let's look at the chart so far. You already could see the dollar did everything and anything to do with that bull flag I told y'all about. And you could kind of see that it's basically the epic layering of everything I said the possibilities could be when it comes down to that chart. So that said, I hope y'all made some really good money on NQ, on ES, on gold. All of them, they all were affected by the power of the dollar. The one that was a little trickier was the one with silver. I was like, why it seems like silver is on its own leg and is doing whatever it wants versus how much of an impact gold did. But other than that, the Russell led the way. Like I always say, Russell tends to lead the way on where we're going, how we're going to operate, and everything else. It looks like there's fighting to try to keep us above that $2,000 mark. Okay, so let me go ahead and check the chats, make sure everything's okay. That's set. That's it. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. I should I do it again? You know what? We're gonna start doing it again. We're gonna start with the dollar. I know I'm probably breaking routine. We're gonna go ahead and start with the dollar. The dollar has been doing some of the things that I was explaining. Nice bull flag breakout, really nice, but it had no follow through. None. And when it was looking for some more friends to come help it with that follow through, it had a little bit of help for a little bit, right? But then around this was around that 2 o'clock. That's when the market kind of rallied. Netflix news came out around 4 o'clock, and it destroyed the dollar. That's how it kind of played out. So let's go ahead and kind of dig in deep in this. So you gotta remember, a lot of this stuff is built on imbalances, and I marked off quite a bit of the imbalances. One of the imbalances I was concerned about when I found out, like roughly like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, was this one. Yeah, what time was that? Yeah, 4 o'clock. So this was like around British time. So I was thinking that we would not come down to this level, but when we broke down, when the British pound went ahead and did what it did, I was like, oh man, they did one of those, haha, gotcha, kind of fake out moments. Had a nice little bull flag, had a nice little breakout, what was supposed to be the measure move, and then boom, they just kind of destroyed it. Now, one person did ask me if this is a bull flag, but this is on my community. If this is a bull flag, where would you not pay attention to the bull flag? And the way that works is like this. Here's our bull flag. That would be the pole of it. And you want to make sure that it doesn't break under 50% of the move. So we kind of have some room for the dollar to come down, and then it'll probably try again. But I do think that it's going to reject at this level just because of how all this kind of came about. It could easily go into what could be considered a head and shoulder. So you can have a shoulder here, head here, and then another shoulder here, and then we'll just go ahead and draw a downward trend line here. So that's another possibility with this one as well. So just keep it in mind that at the end of the day, the way the dollar is operating is going to have a lot of impact on what the market will do. All right, so let's go ahead and get out of that. The next one we're going to talk about is the Nasdaq right now has a lot of imbalances that I've been just tracking, and it looks like we didn't fill all the way down to this third imbalance. We used it as support, and it never looked back ever since. So now I'm looking at some of the other imbalances that it created here. For example, this one right here and here. These are all new investors in my eyes, right? They're all jumping in, and I am very curious on how their reaction is going to be with this news. Of course, we're using the order block. Remember, I talked about jambalaya rice order blocks, right? I'm probably gonna have to go to a higher time frame. Let's see. Can I get that? Nope. Okay, let's go to the daily. Oh, sorry. This is all-time highs. I forgot about that. Yes. So jambalaya order block was built on this here, this upside down H that failed, came back down, and then we had this other order block. You can see it was very choppy when it came down to this level around 2 o'clock. It's when we exploded outside of this order block is when all hell kind of broke loose. To give full disclosure, I was completely wrong, right? I actually was playing this based on the bull flag breakout on the dollar. So I was just waiting for the market to finally just says, all right, we done. We see the dollar is got this bull, it has this bull flag, and this thing should just go ahead and dump. And that's not exactly what happened. What ended up happening, and let me go ahead and bring back the dollar to kind of bring this into full circle. The dollar, when it kind of hit this peak and wasn't making highs, and it wasn't getting outside of this imbalance, which is an imbalance that was created back here roughly. Yeah, there it is. It was created around here. So this imbalance in itself still has not been filled. So that means there was a lot of supporters that wanted to see the dollar drop again, and they stepped in right here. So what ended up happening when that happened, like I said, roughly around 2 o'clock is when we kind of broke out of this shell, right? We kind of consolidated, dump, nope, dump, nope, dump, nope. So you got to always, oh, actually, let me move this chart a little bit so I can see it, right? All these bottom wicks was buyers. They did not want to see this level break and come into this imbalance. They did not want to see this 50 EMA on the 1 hour breakdown. They didn't want to see none of that. So what ends up happening? Now you get new buyers coming in. Then you got the sellers that was trying to get it down to these levels so that way they can make their profits below these levels. And they're like, oh man, let me get out of here. And they turn into buyers, and new buyers step in, and then boom. That was that explosion roughly around 3 o'clock. I did switch my position, but I was completely directional, thinking that we was going to finally make our dump. And we came in and made new highs, especially when we started discussing on the floor. It was pretty epic. Made a quick recovery of roughly around, I think it was like 2 or 3 when we filled a smaller time frame imbalance. So this said, it does look like we're putting in what could be considered a bull flag. We did go parabolic during the Asian session and the London session. So there's a lot that can actually play out when it comes down to this, because this is a good downtrend that I'm looking at from here to here, right? All you need is 2 touches. I want to see what this downtrend does. There we go. That should work out. So now, when you're looking at all of this, you want to make sure that at the end of the day, what is the goal? What is the plan? What is it that it's going to do? So, all right, so I got a potential an official downtrend right here, and then this one right here. You could kind of call this an official downtrend, also, and then this one could be considered a potential downtrend. So this is a couple of things that I am looking at to see what the market's going to do. Let me come down to something a little bit of smaller time frame. You'll probably get a little bit of an idea. See what I mean? Like, this will be a potential downtrend. Why is it potential? Because it has yet to make a lower low. This one right here has made a lower low. Here's a point. Here's your lower low. Second point. This wick right here made a lower low. And then we got a lot. Oh man. On the lower time frames, you got some very, very big order blocks here. Now let's do a doji order block for this one. This one's going to be a tough area for us to break through. This one's probably going to be a tough area because we kind of did a whole entire dance, used this as a retest and everything else, but they couldn't get past here until you got new buyers, which included some sellers in there. And then you got these wicks right here. So you got a couple of things that is going to be considered a tough area to kind of break this down and come to the lower time frame. I'll come into the lower levels. All right. So that said, we do have a buy signal here, letting us know that it is a possibility we could continue to this upside. And if we go to the 2 hour, same thing. And ooh, even this is a nice little order block on this too. I'm not order block, but a nice little imbalance on this 2 hour. So I could see this even being more of a challenge in itself. Do we have anything else? Yeah, I like what the stochastic is doing, but the one thing I don't like about the stochastic is pinned to the top like this. So you probably getting this doji here because everybody's like, yeah, this is way too overbought. So this is probably going to be a nice little catalyst for us to see what the NASDAQ does. Let me go ahead and switch back to the 1 hour, and then we'll just go ahead and continue. Let's go to the next thing, and we'll come back to NASDAQ towards the end of the show. Crude oil. Crude oil. Oil is not following my rules. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. The market's going to do what it wants. Do I personally want to see oil drop down below $70? Yes, absolutely. But the chart doesn't tell it. So right now, I have not played oil. I do not trust its upside, so I kind of stayed away. I got a couple people in the community that actually are playing oil, and they're having a lot of fun. Keep playing it to that 75 level and selling at the 75 level, right? And you can kind of see it's been in that pattern over and over again. All right, but right now we're making this like lower high type of action, and you can kind of see right then and there that that's probably what they're looking for, is to create that lower high, break down, maybe have enough oomph to finally get back to this order block down here, or sorry, this imbalance right here, and break all the way through. That could be where they're targeting, because right now we had this one balanced, but we have yet to even test this imbalance down here. Let me go ahead and mark it out. Right, so we have not tested this since January 17th. So could this be where they're looking for? Could this be an area that they want to go ahead and? That's about 7 days ago. Can we get back down to here? That's a possibility. For any upside, for that to happen, we would have to break through and continue and get rid of this imbalance here. This imbalance has yet to be filled, hence the reason why we're in between two imbalances. Here's your imbalance right here. Oh, actually, we might have. Let me see. Yeah, we did fill it, actually. We're between an order block and an imbalance. Hey, good morning, Casey. How you doing? I hope you got some tickers for us, right? So this imbalance right here got filled roughly around here, but we created a bearish order block that is holding the market down as far as oil. And right now, it can't even get back through the imbalance to get up there again to retest it. So that said, there is a possibility if they get enough supporters, they could go ahead and get back up there. But I don't think they'll get there anytime soon, only because here's our second touch, here's our third touch, and it's making this triangle type of action, something like this. And down. Right. So it looks a little something like this, right? So we got seller pressure going this way, buyer pressure going this way. The sellers won't let it get past this level, so they're selling more every time they get here. The buyers are not letting it fall below, so they got new buying pressure, even got a new angle of the buying pressure, which is extended out to here. And this is what we're looking at. So I could see price just getting into this triangle. Let me zoom in a little bit for y'all. Getting into this triangle, maybe get one more hurrah. And then since it's such a neutral size style of triangle, it probably is going to be any winner could be coming from either side, right? Because the moment that we break and cause pain for the sellers, you're going to see the buyers start to take over, and then they're going to step in as new buyers, because some of the people over here probably sit on the sidelines like, I can't wait for it to break this level. I'm going to go ahead and start buying it up until it gets up to the 76.50. That's how it relatively works. All right, so let's go ahead and keep this party going. The next one after crude oil we're going to be talking about is gold. Gotta love gold. Gold has been interesting. I did not extend that downward trend line, and you could kind of see why I didn't do it yesterday is because I had a feeling that this was going to happen. All right, so now that could be a downtrend, but it's not an official downtrend, right? Because this is no longer touching, so I'm going to call this a potential downtrend. So now this potential downtrend is being affected by this unofficial uptrend. Boom, and we'll call this an uptrend. So what's happening here is that at the end of the day, since it's moving to a more upward trend, probably putting pressures to some more bearish imbalances, getting through some bearish order blocks. Right now we're forming a bullish order block. So there's a lot that's happening here. It needs to break above this 2037. Now remember, I did talk about being bearish. As long as it got below this level, it never got below the level. It never got below the level. So at this point, I'm thinking that they're forming a base. They're looking to push this to the upside, and then we're probably going to stay bullish above this level. Just to be on the safe side, I could be bullish now, right? There's a couple imbalances on this 1 hour, but for more risk to reward, I want to see them clear all this jambalaya rice and look like I got enough supporters from here that gets us above this 2050, and then I could get very bullish the moment it gets above this level at 2063. All right. Oh, you got us quite a good list. All right, cool. Monday, huh? Okay. All right, next one, silver. So silver is doing something very interesting. So you see how gold kind of look like consolidation. Silver, on the other hand, looks like it's just on takeoff duty. And I kind of pointed this out before. I was like, well, if we look at silver, let me go ahead and get rid of this oscillator. I'm thinking we could get all the way up into here, or roughly around that area, because if we look left, there's a little bit of a jambalaya rice. It could be any, I'm doing all the wrong things. It could be any of these items here. It could be one of these areas, maybe one of the dojis, maybe it could even be this bearish order block. It's going to bump its head inside of this range because I think they really want to retest this imbalance, because if they retest the imbalance, then you kind of have a little bit of a shot to try to go to these other highs. But I think the auto fib at 23.53 is probably going to be a tough little area in itself, right? So I want to see, does it get to this point, or this point, then fall, or does it get all the way up to this level, which is the 50% of the imbalance in itself? Either way, I just put it in the middle, kind of say it's going to be somewhere around this area as a whole. It's going to be a rejection area. That's how I'm kind of looking at it, and we'll just have to figure out which way is going to operate with the oscillator, and then that's when we kind of get into our positions, assuming that it will continue to that downside. All right, so let's go ahead and keep this party going. The next one we're going to be talking about is the British pound. You already know the British pound. If we go up, they go up. If we go down, they go down. But right now, it is so detached. I don't hold any credence to it, so I'm not using this as a denominator. I'm looking at the dollar as a whole, and I'm looking at that. So the British pound is kind of retracing, even though NQ is just continuing to that upside. So I'm looking at the British pound as it's trying to break itself down, which is actually, you know what? This was kind of funny to kind of look at, because if the British pound is falling with the 1, 2, 3, so that was about 4 hours, right? Here's your rally. Actually, it wasn't 4 hours. Okay, it was 3 hours. Okay, so now actually it is insane. Except the dollar's candles are not as wide as what's going on with the one that's on the British pound. So right now they're retesting the imbalance here. This thing could probably turn around, because this is kind of like 3 black crows coming down. Assuming that this level is completely done and this is 3 black crows, maybe, and we'll probably come back and see this later, maybe that level, probably a little lower, let's do it lower, probably that level with, let's see, maybe a golden zone of here is where they're potentially looking at. Let me go ahead and turn this into an order block. That's probably going to be our retracement for a golden ratio, golden zone rejection, if that level holds as being where it stays on the in the next 25 minutes. But we'll come back and check out the British pound. But it's just going to be retracement, so that way the rest of the stochastic can continue to that downside. That's how this looks. So if you play the British pound, this could be very interesting for you. Let's go ahead and get to natural gas. I'll get back to it, because I'm really curious on how the British pound reacts to some of that. Natural gas, they came in, filled in the rest of the gap. I kind of told y'all about that. I think it was last week. Was it last week? It might have been Monday. No, actually, no. I think it was last week. When did they do this? Oh no, this gap. Oh, there's got to be another gap there. Damn, where did this gap come from? Okay, I think I'm aiming for this gap. Okay, so, all right. So last week we put in this gap here, right? kind of continued this whole entire downtrend, broke these levels, felt like almost like some cartoon character falling through branches off a tree, and now we're at this level. Kind of create this gap, fill this gap. I want to see us fill this gap back up. It's probably going to take some time before that actually happens. I would say give it a week, because now we've established this as a bottom, and it looks like we're putting in, if you count the gap, kind of like a W pattern. So what's the W pattern? We've talked about W's before. You take the shortest side to the neckline, which is this one here, and then you put that right at the breakout right here. Let me zoom in the chart a little bit for y'all. And then you put a fib right on it. There's a fib. Boom, boom, boom. Right here. 50% mark. And guess where it rejected? Got a little bit past it, but it's the 50% mark right there. Look at how pretty that W played out. 50% of the move. Some people start selling right there because that's the official move. Some extra bias came in. You know, people kind of squeezed in the extra profits out of that one, but it didn't come for this imbalance roughly around here. Let me go ahead and mark off this imbalance so you can see what I'm talking about. And there's still a little bit left for this imbalance. Boom. And we'll call this bearish. So now you got this imbalance where they came in, they touched it, tried to fill the rest of it, but unfortunately it rejected, and it rejected really hard. Dropped down for 38 points. All right, so that is natural gas. Look for this one to either A, use these imbalances as support, or they'll fill it as they're starting to reject and all the sellers take over and start doing the domino effect and squeezing everybody out. All right, so that is natural gas. Let's look at the Russells. So the Russell is looking just like that leading indicator that I know and love. Yesterday, as I started to realize that the market wasn't dropping the way I was expecting it to do so, I was like, wait a minute, what is the Russell doing? And when I went to the Russell, I noticed that at roughly around here, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, this 1, 2, and 3, this one, I was like, man, we're not breaking this down. But by then I was already deep in my position and I was down significantly. Caleb, door. I was down significantly, and since I was down so I was like, look, I'm just going to go ahead and mark off a level. If it breaks this, then that means it's never going to reverse, and that's exactly what it did. So looking at this as a whole, I probably should have considered it a little bit differently as far as the NASDAQ, because even though we rejected the imbalance, this was a doji. It's when we kind of started pushing down and we didn't break this level, I should have considered, since we didn't make lower lows, to get out of that. That's another thing I'm probably going to tweak and add to my trading plan when I'm using the Russell. So however you want to use this information, it's up to y'all. But let's go ahead and look at how the Russell moves from this point on. Right now, the Russell is showing that it's showing a little bit of weakness. It's probably because this level got this, like I said, jambalaya rice order blocks, right? So this is like where everybody's dancing. They did that for, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hours straight, where it just stayed inside of this area. That is an order block of people just filling, exchanging positions and getting out the way, or they're getting into position because they think that it's going to go in a certain direction. Gotta love your jambalaya rice order blocks. So now this one right here, we kind of did a doji order block, and we're using that as support roughly around that 2000 level, and I want to see this thing make new higher highs. I do think that there's going to be new sellers that's going to be in this level, so that could be something that could reject. Also, for some of y'all, let me just give full autonomy. Going to my FX book, right? Let me close my Netflix. All right. Shout out to Netflix. Congratulations on your earnings. I am one of your customers, and I'm now on the advertise side. All right. So today, let's see. We got some news that's coming out. We got PMI that's coming out in about 2 hours, right? A lot of the stuff that's been going on is the fact that the British pound has gotten bullish sentiment on a lot of their information. So what is bullish for the British pound is bearish for the US dollar. So that's very important. right? So now we got the euro that's also had their, I guess this kind of like their CPI. I see CBI. It has medium effect. What else looked like it probably stood out as far as overnight? Uh, this is South Africa. Okay, South Africa. I thought it was New Zealand. South Africa, they had bearish, which is bullish for the dollar. Um, and then this one was kind of bearish. I guess this is what kind of allowed for some of the pullback that happened around 3-ish before the drop. And then the British pound came in and slapped the whole entire market down. So that said, let's go into here. The US dollar needs to support some of the information that's coming over here. So based on what I'm seeing right now, I could imagine that global service PMI is probably going to be bearish for the dollar, assuming that everything stays consistent as a news release. We do have oil imports and information coming in, and then we also have a couple of bond information that's coming out. So I could see some volatility kicking in around 12 and 1 o'clock. So these are the things that you probably want to key off on along the way. All right, so let's go ahead and continue with the Russells. So that said, as this is starting to kind of take off, I could see, being that it is bearish for the dollar, that means the market could rally. That could be the catalyst that gets us through this block for the Russell. If it does not get through this block with the Russell, then that means there is going to be a threat on this imbalance that we put in down here, and then we're probably going to drop the market. Just my thoughts right there, because that's the $2,000 level, psychological level, everything that you've been learning with me so far. So let's go ahead and finish up. Come back over to the dollar. The dollar has been doing what looks like more falling. Looked like it tried to take new higher highs, couldn't do it. Get in through this imbalance, couldn't do it. Got 17 minutes. If it doesn't hold this 200 EMA on the 1 hour, I could see this thing coming back down again and just reestablishing where the imbalance is. And then the other one, let's go back to NASDAQ. I did say we was going to look at NASDAQ again. Look at that one. Remember those points? It wasn't like that before. Let's go to the 5 minute. Let's see how that worked out. So yeah, so we had a nice little base. Like I said, this was that borderline order block. It's creating this little bit of an uptrend, and we're breaking these sellers, and these sellers backs right now. So that said, we're probably gonna go into news. What time did I say the news drops? The news drops at 9:45, so we don't have nothing at 8:30. Oh, actually, while I do this as well, there is tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be another rough one too, because there is building permits, jobs report, GDP. I think all of this is going to come into effect. New home sales. And D.R. Horton got his butt whipped because of their bad earnings. So this is going to be probably very interesting for new home sales and new home builds. Let's see, and I think this 8-week bill is a little weaker than the other ones, but yeah, I probably will be looking out for today and tomorrow for all the volatility, and that's probably going to be the one that shakes up this tree, because right now the NASDAQ just looks like this. It looks like complete vertical. We have not looked back ever since January 17th, 18th, and we've already been in a position of borderline vertical that needs to be tested. So now if I did a trend line from here to here, we have yet to test that one. So that is probably the one that we need to see on the 1 hour. This is the area that you want to see. What are they going to do with that? All right. So that said, let's go ahead and get into some of the tickers that Casey got for us. All right. Boom, 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 boom. Where's my other chart? Not this one. Not that one. Where? All right. Nope. There he goes. All right. Let's go ahead and get into the charts. All right. So Casey has for us AbbVie. It's healthcare. Well, you know what? Let me just do this disclosure. Right now, this is probably going to be the year for healthcare. They got their butt whipped last year. Actually, you know what? Let's do it from a different perspective. Let me do this in full autonomy to the best one. If you haven't done this, go to Spider XLV. That's the healthcare sector, right? If we take the month over month, right? It's been holding this level of support this whole entire time, and on the monthly, it looked like party just started. All right, so I am very, very, very interested on what healthcare does. I do want to see by the end of the month, which it came close to doing, but you know, it's probably going to go pick up some new friends for it to be above $140. If it holds above $140, it should carry the rest of the healthcare sector up with it. So just keep that in mind. So let's go to AbbVie. AbbVie, baby. All right. AbbVie looked like it just started its party, right? Let's bring this down to a daily because that's what Casey likes. And also, if you don't know how Casey kind of picks his tickers, this is 1 point. Ooh, okay, Casey. This is actually a big cap for you. It's not just normal small cap. But if we look at this chart overall, you'll kind of see that at the end of the day, this thing has been rallying. Let's mark off some imbalances and see where this thing could go. All right. So we got ourselves a nice little imbalance right here. All right. We got ourselves a few imbalances here. If I go to a weekly, I probably could just knock out this whole entire thing. Actually, you know what? Let me do that. So from this point, and the only reason I'm doing it this way is because I want to see what it does with it, right? So this is this area here, and then we had some consolidation there. So let me get the last one, right? So the reason why AbbVie is where it is because people started loading since around 139-ish, and they took over any selling pressure that they may have had, right? And if we go over to the daily, you'll see that we got golden crosses, we got more imbalances where they just could not sell off, buyers stepping in, and then we got ourselves a nice one that just formed just now. Is there any new? Okay, so it doesn't have any pre-market movement. So now I do not have a trading plan for you on the daily yet, Casey. But what I do have on the 4 hour, this will give me a little bit of a trading plan. You have an entry at 168. To be honest, I would say as long as it doesn't come through here, you should be fine. Right? Boom, boom, and boom. Right? So as long as it doesn't come through this area, you should be fine. So you could pretty much get into the trade when the market opens. At least that's what it looks like so far. Let me see the oscillator. Yeah, it looks like you're fine. You have a stop loss of 156. I would say you don't even have to worry about that. I would say 156 is if you're trying to be very aggressive all the way down to this order block, right? You're assuming that you're going to get a whole entire reset of the oscillators, right? But this one's pointing up, and well, I like the 156 if you know for a fact you're not going to readjust for earnings. But if you're going to go ahead and hold this through earnings and you have enough time on your option contracts for this one, actually, let me red list this. I might, because I love healthcare, I may play this one, right? You may get yourself a situation where you could just go ahead and just take this one now, have a stop loss that's tight, and as long as it holds above this, anything that looks like a bullish uptrend along this line, I'm just going to take it again, right? That's one way of doing it. Let's go ahead and put a trend line from here to here, because this is starting from that lower level. Okay, so let me do it differently. I'm going to ignore the algo for right now. As long as this follows this trend and doesn't break this trend, you should be okay. So that's why I'm saying that you could kind of get away, even if it retraces back in here and you just get in right now, you could probably get another entry roughly around here, and that probably would curl the oscillator. And as long as it holds this level, it's probably going to take out all those sellers that stepped in. Your target is 188.70. I don't have that yet, but 177 is very attainable based on what I'm seeing so far, especially if this monthly buy signal holds, which is going to hold in 7 days. You're going to get new oscillators, new information. Let me see how the weekly looks. Weekly already got its party started. Look like it started all the way back here. You said 188. Let's go 189.57. That's where the weeklies take profit on TP4 is. I think that has a possibility of getting there. Of course, you're going to have a little trouble at 176 because, again, this is going to be one of those plays for all-time high. All right, so keep that in mind. All right, let's go ahead to the next one. Next one Casey has for us, it is ASML. Isn't that a semi company? I think that's a semi company. ASML. Yep, semiconductor. So I used to chart when I first started trading. I wanted to get as much information as possible as far as practicing my technical analysis. So one of the things I did, I got every single semiconductor item, like just listed it, put it in my watch list, and every day I came in, I charted or just the chart around it, and I studied a lot about semis. But I kind of moved away from that, of course, because of futures. So this is why you're getting a little bit of me catching on which one's semis. Love semis. They're the wave of the future, and it's not going to change anytime soon. But if we look over here, you could kind of see, let's see, is it a small cap? Let me see, because you know Casey loves a small cap. I'm pretty sure it is. Yep, 394 million shares afloat. All right, good job, Casey. I know you love those, and I like this one. It's gonna like semis. Is this all-time highs? Okay, no. Okay, I was about to say, woo. All right, let's go ahead and see what you got on your levels. You have 782.52 entry. Okay, I like it. Hopefully some momentum kicks in and it holds above this change of character. I would say have a stop at the change of character. That could be one level. Your stop that you have is 735.60. 735.60. So you're looking at probably around here, a little bit more than necessary. Oh, wait a minute. Did you see that pre-market, Casey? I had that thing. That thing's gone. I think this is probably one of them that you put in your list for yesterday, and we didn't get to go through your tickers. This thing is gone. I would say wait for retracement, maybe even fill the gap when it opens up. But yeah, your entry should have been yesterday at the close. That's what it looks like. Did they have earnings? Oh, that's why. They had earnings this morning, and they beat. That would have been a tough one. I don't like to carry anything over earnings. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm one of those guys. All right. But yeah, so target. Let's talk about your target. 863, very attainable, especially meeting their earnings. I could even say 906 is probably going to be where they're targeting, and they're probably going to target that because then they'll be like Nvidia, all-time highs. It look like everybody's just running into tech as fast as they can, as hard as they can. All right. CBOE. All right, CBOE, if you don't know who they are the company that does the listings. They're one of the brokers itself, but they're investment banks and brokers, right? You should see their names when you signed up for your real-time data. They pop up there. All right, shout out to TradingView. But let's see this. This one, it looks a little vertical to me. Yeah, because it's all-time highs. So CBOE is on all-time highs. Entry was at 180 on cheat code, so you got 189. I would say 190. Let's go with a flat out 190. Let that psychological level hold. That'll probably be a great one. Let's see. And then after 190, you have a stop loss at 173. Oh, you gave me quite a list. All right, 173. I would say 180. 180 because I see some imbalances. They should hold. I don't want them to just whack out all the imbalances and stay in there. Of course, earnings is coming on February. Let's see, your target is 218, 208 first, but I could see this with the momentum. If this support level holds without being affected so badly, you're probably going to get enough buyers that's going to wait and see to get to that 208. So that's the one that's probably going to be most critical. Okay, Casey. Let's see what you got next for us. We got ENTG. ENTG. I'm gonna try to get through all of them, Casey. I'm gonna try. ENTG. Okay. All right, so it looks like we got ourselves a nice little golden cross on this one. This one look like it's gonna be a breakout play with an all-time high. Nope, not an all-time high. Let's see what they would be feeling over here. I like this level. I would like an entry above 127. What do you have as an entry? You have 123. I would say this one's probably going to be a little tricky for you, Casey, because I could see this doji order block kind of giving a little bit of problems. That's why we kind of hit the brakes here. We hit the brakes close to it. So I will not be surprised if there's some retracement that happens today, or even a red candle. I would not be surprised at all. But you want to see this get above here and then start to take off, because those that are here are looking to get through this order block. That means you need people to step in at this point. So I would say the 123.69 is a good chance that you could get liquidated in the process. I would leave my stop loss kind of tight. You have 115. I probably would do right below this wick at 120, just so I can know that these sellers are still in. I want this imbalance to hold up and give me what I'm looking for, which is supporters, maybe below here, whatever. But at the end of the day, I don't want all the buyers to exit the market taking profits. All right, so that is that one. What time is it? 7:56. Okay, cool. FNGG. Oh, FANG. Does anyone really use the acronym FANG? For those that don't know what FANG is, it's Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, Google. And since FANG is no longer Facebook, it's Meta, so that's Mang. I know, again, Google is not really Google, it's Alphabet, but that's how they... Anyways, FANG, right? At this point, it looks like FANG is trying to get through that 100 level. You have an entry at 99.37 with a take profit of 133. Very possible. I would say look for that 116 first, because we had a nice little run up. I get it, and I know a lot of people are probably trying to invest into the market right now, but I would say we're getting a lot of this rally because we're going into an election year, and no one wants to be angry going into an election year. So it kind of behooves the politicians to make it a very market-friendly type of climate. So that is what we're kind of facing at this point. So let's go ahead and dig deep. You have a stop loss. Where's your stop loss on FANG? $82. A little deep. I think if it breaks 89, it's reversing, and it's going to fill in, and even probably, nope, probably won't go for this block. You got 82. I see its market structure, 84, 83. So if it gets into that, then that means it's probably not going to recover that. So yeah, I would say probably good stop loss, but I prefer if you got somewhere around that 90 level. All right. Okay, and then the next one is Monday. This is a... Oh man, I know this because I've seen the commercial so many times. I want to say they're a corporate logistic company. What are they? Package software that actually caters. Monday is represented by a social communication tool. The firm offers a platform that connects people and provides internal transparency, collaboration, and organization. Its solution includes marketing and creative, software development, project management. That's the one I didn't know. Project management. So if you have like a whole staff of like 100 people, you just sign up for Monday and you could just basically list those items and you can bring people on. It's really, really cool. Inventory tracking. I didn't know they did that. And remote work. The company was founded by these people over in Tel Aviv, Israel, on 2012. All right, so to kind of give you a little insight of who they are. So this is inside of the tech space as a whole. But yeah, if we look at this, Monday is making its move. Looks like it's getting ready for earnings. It looks a little strong. Actually, is this all-time highs? No, it's not all-time highs. Okay. Maybe they're coming for a specific imbalance. Let's see. Let me zoom in here. Okay, they could be targeting the 256 level. Let's see. What do you have? You have entry at 218, stop loss at 200, take profit 247. I will challenge you on that one. I would say I like your 247 because it's probably profit taking that's going to happen around this area, because that is an order block. But because you're in at 218, let me see. Yeah, if you're in at 218 and there's enough momentum, it might blast through there and your target is really 273. That's what I'm kind of seeing here because of that imbalance. Let's see. Yeah, MACD's pointing up the stochastic is overheated. You need some type of cool down that happens. So there will be a consolidation factor. You want the consolidation to happen right under here, and they failed to break down, maybe get above 223 like a gate, lock the gate right behind them, and never get below 223. And then that'll be your continuation to get up there. But the hard part is now that the market is open, it's at pre-market. I would say you already missed your entry. Just get it as soon as the market opens. It's probably the best spot, but don't get the full position. Stop loss at 200. Nah, not that far. I wouldn't even go that far. Stop loss at 204. If you're getting in right when the market opens, get out there, reassess, and then your re-entry, if it holds support, is the 200. The reason why I'm saying that is because we got ourselves a nice little upward angle that's happening on the daily like this, right? So if we're talking about that all things stay equal, I'm thinking about somewhat of a downward angle, kind of similar to like this, and you want that whole entire stop to kind of like, as the uptrend is catching up to where your stop loss would be, you want your uptrend to be above that stop loss. Now, I do understand why you went with a $200 level because it's right here, but generally speaking, I want this thing to not get below 204. That way, anything that happens after it, right, it'll be helping that gate close behind, and it should continue to that upside and then get you back to that order block. So that's why I'm saying, like, you want to kind of keep your stop loss tight on this one, because holding the bag is not going to help you. All right, let's see. I'm gonna try to get through all of it, but I am running out of time. It's almost 8 o'clock and I gotta go run an errand, but I will be back on live because I actually was gonna do this and carry on, but my wife has to take care of something. So I'm gonna restart my before you take the trade analysis, and we're gonna do some live trading later on today. But let's go ahead and get into PCAR. Regenerous, maybe I'll go with that one. That actually, we haven't talked about that in a while. And Casey, I know you're probably still in that one. That one was already on its way up, and I think it kept on going. Snow, good technology company. I don't know civics. It sounds like the short of the VIX. just playing. I don't know. Okay, so let's go with Regenerous. Regenerous, Regener something. Regeneron. Okay, I know it was one of them things. So me and Casey was talking about this a few weeks back, and I think I gave Casey some insight on this one, that we're probably playing inside of a channel for the most part. I don't know, Casey, if you're still in that same position itself, but this is that same channel going back all the way from this peak and this peak, and we just kind of like consolidating inside of here, right? So you have an entry. And you can see we've just been uptrending the whole entire time. I can't remember when we talked about case, but I feel like it was probably December. I'm probably gonna have to look at some old videos and talk about that. But I've yet to do any of my scrubbing. I apologize in advance. I did say I was gonna scrub some of my videos, see which ones were successful, see which ones that failed, give those analysis and kind of go over them again. But life happens. I got children, right? So anyways, Regeneron, with where it is right now, coming up to earnings right now, with the healthcare sector being beat up last year, and you could kind of see this was part of the healthcare sector. It didn't get beat up, but it was like in a holding pattern compared, right? A lot of consolidation, no real explosion until roughly around this June little area, and then come back into consolidation. And the reason why I'm saying this consolidation is because you're talking about a lot of consolidation. This is from August to the end of October, where it just stayed in this area and would not get above 849, right? So that's what I'm saying. Like there's a lot of consolidation, jambalaya rice consolidation. They use that as support, and that's what the explosion that happened in December. That was the retracement. And you could kind of see from that 838 level, they picked up the bag, and it has continued, and we're about to get to TP1. So your entry, you have at 960.59. I like it. It's above. I would not have my stop loss at 900, because having a stop loss that deep, you're probably going to get caught all the way here. The risk to reward is not in your favor if this channel holds, right? Because the risk to reward is basically this. Let me do this for you. 960-ish, somewhere around that level. Make sure I get this right. 960, boom, close enough, 959. And then your stop loss would have to be at the center pivot of this channel, and then your target would have to be here, technically, right? Because if it hits the channel too fast, these people are probably going to take profit. But if it comes down and consolidates, then you could probably move your entry a little bit better to increase your risk to reward, right? So right now, if your entry is here, your risk to reward is there, I'd rather you not use the center pivot as a stop loss. I'd rather you not use this entry level as a stop loss, and I'd rather you not use the psychological level of 900 as a stop loss, because each one of these is giving you a terrible risk to reward ratio at 0.7 at best, right? So now I'd rather you go with a stop loss somewhere around here, 920, maybe a little bit lower than that, and you'll get like a 1-to-1. But if you really want to be aggressive, put it at the center of the order block that's here. Let me zoom in so you can see that order block. Look at this order block that's right here. These are the people that came in and was like, yeah, we're not going to let Regeneron drop. Center part of that order block will probably be about roughly here. And I'm looking for that as a stop loss. And that will make it a little bit more bang for my buck. And I'll get a 1.45 ratio. And let me get deep into this. Listen, the market is the market, right? Our job as traders is give ourselves the highest probability of success as possible. And the only way we're going to get that highest probability of success is by plotting out our levels. The other part of it is managing our risk. Risk to reward at 1.45 is a lot better than risk to reward 0.7. That means if you are wrong, your target, if you were wrong 10 times with that same target or that risk to reward, out of those 10 times, if you're at 50%, you'll be lucky to break even. But if you have a 1.45, the times that you won at 50% will offset all those losses and you'll stay profitable. That's what I'm breaking down here. So with your entry on this one, Casey, I like it because it's going to be above the TP1 and our target is going to be TP2 at 1,000. You have a target of 1,062, which means it needs to break out of the channel and come to this level. So yes, that will be a great risk to reward. That'll give you your 2-to-1 based on the parameters here. I'm saying this is a danger area and it could slap it right on back, and the buyers that would step in to help you are probably seeing the same thing, and you'll need more of an intraday play versus a long-term play. So this one's a little tricky. All right, that said, all right, I think I did quite a bit. I am fatigued. I got a whole bunch of these charts. Listen, I am going to do my best to get out that signal. I am probably going to be aiming right before the open to reopen another live, and this one technically turned into analysis, and I had to go run, take care of my son, and then I'm gonna have to do one that's a live trading. So by all means, hit the bell, the notification, so that way on YouTube you get the notifications. My Instagram, I'm probably going to post some things on Instagram and Twitter as I do this live trading. Also, if you don't have a trading community, we have a very fun trading community. I may incorporate them into this live as well and bring them in as they talk, so that way you can kind of see how we interact as a community. That should be a little fun. But other than that, yeah, that's where we are. That's where we are. That's who we are. Cheat code. We have a lot of fun. I just came off of work. I got my shirt still on. But anyways, that said, have a great day. If you do not come to a live trading, I get it. You probably got wrapped up or whatever the case may be. But overall speaking, I want to say thank you for taking the time and enjoying this video. And I want you to have a great trading days, my neighbors. I'll see you later.